Hi everyone, today we're gonna cover Valhalla of VA-11 How A. Now, immediately within the game it's algorithm, you aren't supposed to say the full thing, you just call it Valhalla. So that's what I'm gonna be doing as well, for simplicity's sake, plus I literally have a hard time pronouncing it. No shit there. But the game is another bartending barista simulator where you're talking with people and androids from all walks of life, and in this case corgis, which I think is pretty important, and it's another genuine masterpiece. The game is incredibly well written throughout the entire thing. It is incredibly nice to play, it has a good vibe, and it has a really nice world that you honestly learn an insane amount about without ever seeing it. So let's get right into it and why I think this is a must play for anybody who likes coffee talks or the Red Strings Club. So the gameplay of Valhalla also revolves around making drinks, just like the Red Strings Club, which comparisons are gonna happen here. However, the main difference between the Red Strings Club and Valhalla is that Valhalla doesn't have the entire motion thing. It very much so relies on just having some drinks where you can see the right amount of what you're putting in, and once you put that in you can mix it or blend it. Blending just meaning that you have mixed it for 5 seconds or longer and then you get your drink. You can use the QWERT buttons if you want to use buttons, or you can do what I do because it gives you a little satisfying splish sound when you're doing it, and use your mouse instead. I like to do that just because of that sound effect, because it's pretty nice. In addition to just putting in the ingredients, you also have to decide if it's on the rocks or aged. Aged is just if it's aged. On the rocks means if there's ice in it, in the drink that is. So you can select that, and all of that can create different drinks, and you have all the recipes in a recipe book that is fully digital because this is supposed to be in the Cyberpunk world, and it's super neat. And in addition to that, there are also some secret drinks you can unlock by not following the recipe book. I won't spoil the ingredients exactly, but I will say they aren't necessary. You unlock an extra character too by doing it at some right points in the game, but it's not necessary. So, in addition to that, because that's not all there is to it, you obviously could talk to your customers and hear about their stories and lives and everything else like that, hear a little bit about the world here and there. But you also get a paycheck at the end of your job, which is used to pay your bills. But in comparison to the Red Strings Club, where that is the entire game, here you also get home to your apartment where you can read the news, you can check social media, you can check different forums, and most importantly to me, you can do housing elements. So that means you can buy new furniture, you can buy plants, you can buy posters, you can change the wallpaper and so on. And honestly, and I know this might be a little bit weird, but I think it's super cute. I think it is so adorable. I can't get enough of it. It is so good. And here's the thing, when it comes to matching drinks and whatnot, it might sound boring, but honestly, it manages to be pretty good. And that's mainly because of the story, since most of the game revolves around its story, like these games tend to do, since that is, the main gripping hook. That's also why I don't usually explain the story in full, especially not when I'm making these types of videos. And learning more about the world is also super satisfying, which you do by just making drinks, being in your apartment and talking to the characters. So, when it comes to the characters, because they are borderline a part of the gameplay as well, they are all really well written, they're super nice to be around, and honestly I can say, even though they're virtual characters, I kinda miss them. I kinda wanna go back and play, just because they're all really cool and nice. Super well written, super awesome, and I cannot recommend playing it enough. I'm gonna say that a couple of times throughout this video. But the story itself is super nice, and it's really well written. I cannot state that enough. You learn so much about the world without going out there, and it allows your imagination to sort of flow to some degree. And that to me is so cool and unique. Because here's the thing, in a lot of games they tend to just show you something. Here you don't really see the things going on. As an example, and this is an example already from the game, you hear what could be gunshots, but it could also just be a guy dropping a bunch of things. You don't know, the characters don't know. And most importantly, some of the characters are dogs, corgis to be specific, and one of them has sunglasses and a red t-shirt, and it's so fucking cute, and I love it. I have to admit it. It's so adorable. I can't get enough of it. It's really good. But we've talked a lot about the gameplay / sort of story elements, and I think it's about time we talk about another part of this game that honestly is amazing and something that I'm gonna use even outside of the game, and that is the beautiful music, because it really is that good. So let's get into it. The music of Valhalla is very much to be expected lo-fi mostly, and it's synthwave lo-fi. They do have some more optimistic tracks, but I find myself attracted to the lo-fi stuff just because I think it sets a mood that I really like, of this cozy and comfy bar, and it is really good. Because here's the thing with music, like I've said before, music in games is there to enhance it, and it enhances it by seeming like it could fit into the game. And in Valhalla, all the music fits in, and it fits in perfectly. You, at the start of your shift, when you're going to the bar, get to select a couple of tracks that you want to hear throughout your shift. So you sort of have some self-control over it, which I don't know how much I like it. Because as an example, for me, I ended up settling on a couple of my favorites and then never really changing it up. Which also means that there are some I would never really listen to. And I think that's a shame, because all of them are really good. However, that being said, complete honesty here, I would listen to these songs outside of the game. Simply because while I am a metalhead generally, I also really enjoy lo-fi, especially when I am studying or making videos or doing thumbnail stuff. Like, the lo-fi elements of this game are just really, really there. It gives it the perfect vibe. It reminds me of those bars you used to see in old movies, where it's like a guy playing the piano on top of a little scene and people sitting around talking and drinking meanwhile. That type of cozy, really welcoming feeling. And I've never quite felt anything like it in a game. I think the closest I've come is something like Coffee Talks, which also had a banger of a soundtrack. But in here, it's also insanely good. I really, really can't stress how good it is. And because I can't stress it enough with words, I think I'll just show you. So the next 30 seconds is just gonna be music. Enjoy. Let me know what you think of it. So, what did you think of the music? I think it's genuinely banging. But here's the thing, in a gaming environment, in a gaming world, it's important to not just have good music, but also have art that fits that music, or the other way around. And in this case, Valhalla has exactly that. Valhalla has an art style that completely fits the music, being it has that pixel art style, sort of like a game like Coffee Talks. Not quite as pixelated as, well, the Red Strings Club, but somewhat closer to a mix between the Red Strings Club and Coffee Talks. And it is genuinely fantastic. It fits so well with the world that they're trying to build, partially because they've made it to fit with the world. And more importantly to me anyway, it fits really well with the music. And it creates this environment that makes you want to stay there. It makes it feel cozy and welcoming. Because that's, at the end of the day, the really important thing when it comes to art and music. it's not important to have really pretty graphics. It's more important to create a feeling and convey a feeling with the graphics. And just like Coffee Talks did, just like, well, the Restaurant Club did. And now I can add Valhalla to the list, because Valhalla does that exact thing, and they do it so well. They create this feeling that is never really dropped throughout the entire game, of just a really comfortable environment. An environment where you're in with friends, at work, just vibing and having a good time. And honestly, in Valhalla's case, it's really the case. You're just vibing and having a good time. And yeah, there are some genuine dick characters in the game, which we'll get to later. But overall, they're really nice, most of them. And they're people that I myself could see myself sitting down and talk with. And that is such a genuine achievement to some degree. And again, I think it's fantastic to see that being done here. And you know, because they fit so well, it creates, as I said, the feeling that it really needs to have just a comfy environment. Now, like I sort of teased during the gameplay section, I genuinely love the writing in this game. Partially because they don't mind to shy away from issues within the game that are very real issues in our real world as well, nor do they not shy away from talking about, well, genuine issues within the world, and have, well, anywhere from half of robot characters to actual dogs that can talk in it. The characters are really well diverse. There are a lot of different characters that you get to talk to, and I'm pretty happy with that, honestly. And, well, it has to be mentioned that the writing can at times get a little bit more mature than Coffee Talks, if that makes sense. And that's not a bad thing at all. I think it fits the game way more than it would do in something like Coffee Talks. It doesn't stand out at all here. They do swear a little bit more and so on, and it fits the setting. I think it's perfect, honestly. Especially for the type of game that it is, and I think that's the important part. It needs to fit in the setting, and it does. And overall, yeah, that's really good as well. I'm not going to discuss the story in any bigger detail than this, simply because I think it's a major draw to the game, since it is a sort of visual novel type of thing. And talking about the story in a visual novel kind of defeats the point. And I really do think you should go and give it a try, see if it's something that you like as well. Especially if you like Coffee Talks or the Red Screens Club, you owe it to yourself. And now, I'll just give you the recommendation that the story is really good, and then not talk too much else about it. That being said, I will thank you very much for watching. So, you made it to the end of another video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you spending a little bit of your time with me tonight. I have found this channel I really quickly want to give a shout out to. I know I don't have a lot of followers, but still, whatever we can get to them, it works. It's a Korean channel that has managed to make the sugar rush from Valhalla in real life, and I just think it's pretty cool. That's honestly it. I just wanted to give a shout to it because, you know, maybe you didn't know it, but now you do. It's super dope. I think you should go and check it out just because it is really cool. And if you like what you saw, you know, do the YouTube stuff, you'll figure it out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.